Welcome back to the Funny Thing Is podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Birch, where every week I bring you a guest who shares a life-changing experience, the medicine they took to get better, and the funniest lesson they learned along the way. Today, I have a very special guest for you. She is an actor, writer, public speaking coach, and the creator of the X podcast. Welcome to the stage, Miriam Katz.
X Appeal.
X Appeal? What did I say? Oh, I just said X podcast.
No problem.
The X Appeal podcast, which we're going to get into because I have been listening to clips and going to a deep dive. Holy God, Chad, Rob, what in the world, girl?
Yeah.
Can you tell us, because it's going to lead into your life-changing event?
100%.
Tell me how you came about thinking of it and how many episodes are we in? I want to hear everything.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
So, first I'll say what it is.
Yeah.
I'm interviewing every person I've ever been romantic with on any level.
I love this part because I feel like we'd run out so fast. I mean,
Right.
granted, I've dated a lot. Okay.
I think a lot of people have.
I've dated a ton.
Yeah.
However, if you're only doing like the ones you
Serious
consider
ones.
serious ones,
Yes.
you're like, oh, I've got 10 podcast episodes.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yes.
But this was like any type of romantic interest at all. I was
Not
like,
even interest. I mean, if it's there has to be sort of a mutual thing so that
Right,
there's a bit
a
of a
vibe.
story there.
yeah.
If I just had a crush from afar, that's not counting. But anything, even my first date in the 5th grade, that's going to be next week's
I cannot wait.
episode.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
great.
So the idea came to me on this long road trip I took years ago, and I felt the weight of all my past.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that I thought about one or two people; it was the whole bunch of them.
Right.
And I felt like I really needed to process. But then the idea came, and this is why I feel like it relates to this podcast,
Yeah.
because it is kind of a silly idea or a funny idea,
Right.
and that already felt like a little antidote to this heaviness.
Right.
I was like feeling sad, and then I was like, oh, that would be helpful, but also sort of funny
Yeah.
and interesting. It's both.
Yeah.
And the whole podcast is both.
Yeah.
And then, and the story will lead into it, it was when I started dating somebody who was terminally ill that I decided I really had to record.
I have so many questions about
I will
this.
answer
I have
everyone.
So many questions about this. Okay. First of all, have you seen High Fidelity?
I have.
It's
yeah.
a little bit
Yes.
like that. That's what it kind of feels
Yeah.
like. So if you haven't seen it, it's with John Cusack, and he like goes back with his ex, like not a lot, but a few of his exes, and he asks them like, what was it, what like about me and our relationship
Yeah.
and stuff. I love when he gets to Catherine Zeta-Jones, because she's like, you're not doing the thing where you go around and you're asking your ex. And I'm like, that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah.
And I wrote a show called The 7 Guys You Date Before You Get Married. And those 7 guys, I went back and I interviewed them.
Oh, so this is
So,
in your bones.
Girl, this
Yeah.
is, I'm obsessed
Yeah.
with this. But I'm like, some of mine were just like small texts. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
know if I could get them on the mic. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, that has been part of the process.
So it's so interesting. I would love to know, because also it was on The View. They were talking about it on The View last week. Was that last week? Because
That was 1 week ago.
insane. Whoopi Goldberg was like,
Said
oh,
my name.
yeah.
Yeah.
She was like Miriam Katz, and she was like the X Appeal podcast, and I was like, holy shit, that's insane.
Insane.
Who? I've got so many questions. So I want to start with, have people said no?
Yes, but I'm not gonna, consent's very important.
Oh, yeah,
but
don't
I'm
say
not
who they are,
No,
for
I don't
sure.
mean
No,
that.
no.
I don't
Yeah.
mean that.
Oh.
I mean, I'm gonna go back and ask again.
Okay.
Because I think some of the reasons were conditional to their life situation at the moment, and I'm going to be working on the project for a long time.
Yeah.
So the
I see what you're
fun,
saying.
lofty goal is that, things change and they may say yes. And also, the only no's I got were before the podcast came out.
Right.
And so the hope is that they
Can hear it now from other people's perspectives.
And that's the thing, is that in my asks, ideally I leave a couple-minute voice memo just so that it's clear. It's not a gotcha podcast. I'm not trying to cancel anybody. I'm not trying to talk about, the bad thing they did at all.
Right.
It's actually more about us reconnecting and having a good feeling, because I think that was part of the heaviness and the not closure.
Absolutely.
And also we have these very black and white stories about exes often, and I wanted to sort of recomplicate it, not to then reconnect ultimately, but to be able to really say bye.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Find the gray in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's go from Chad to Rob,
Okay.
if you want to tell that story.
Yes, for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Around right before COVID
Mhm.
is when I decided that I wanted to start dating seriously for the first time in my
Right.
life.
Right.
Truly the February was when I thought, okay, yeah, actually, I think I
Oh
can
my
have a real, because I had done open relationships for a really long time
Right.
and dated 1 million people and lived in cities
Right.
and been 1 foot in, 1 foot out, focused on creative pursuits and stuff. And it just, finally I wanted to do it. And then, so I did online dating for the first time during COVID,
Wild.
which was not a bad time to be doing it.
Right.
Like you could just give the negative that, but it meant that you did Zoom dates first, which I'm sure doesn't exist anymore. I don't know. I don't do dating apps right now, but it was really helpful, I think, because then you could meet somebody and then, not necessarily hang out for an hour. It's like
Right.
you sometimes know in 15 minutes, so then you could just hop off.
Yeah.
And also everyone was on.
Right.
This is actually,
I knew a lot of friends that were doing it.
everyone was, I mean,
Right.
it was such a high percentage of people, which meant that there were going to be quality people,
Right.
which is nice.
Right. And so that's how you met.
So I met Chad pretty early on in that process, and we really connected and really liked each other. And he's episode 1 of the podcast.
Right.
And also he had just gotten out of a 20-year marriage. And not only that, but he'd grown up evangelical.
Damn.
And so he had married his first girlfriend.
Mm-hmm.
He truly hadn't had sex with anybody else.
Right.
And so he wasn't really ready. But that's such a funny thing in dating, because you want to be dating and you want to be connecting. But then
there's this thing.
You actually do need to date a million other people too.
Right.
And he really needed to.
Yeah.
But again, it was COVID, so you weren't hanging out with that many people.
Right.
So it was also extra intense. And there was this big connection, but we also knew we weren't going to actually do it. But we did decide to still take this trip that we had scheduled. It was like we knew we were eventually going to end it, but we still had this trip scheduled to go to Joshua Tree to take mushrooms. And he had never taken mushrooms.
For sure. Had never. For sure.
Right.
Yeah.
But he's such a person that would get a lot out of mushrooms.
Right.
So
let's unlock some of those locked doors, buddy. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
And he was very open to it. And now is like totally an experimental person.
God,
and it
dude.
totally, okay. So a woman that did my hair at the time had talked about these very dancey mushrooms that she had taken over New Year's. And I was like, I want dancey mushrooms.
Right.
So she went with me to her drug dealer in Reseda.
Yeah.
This man lived in a 1-room apartment.
Right.
It was a dorm room, basically.
Right.
Tarantulas, flying squirrels.
What?
Cartoon posters. He was a child. He was like an 8-year-old boy.
Yeah.
Super sweet.
Of
like
course.
a great person.
Right.
But so it's just, I think, a funny, and he had every drug in the entire planet.
I love this.
And it was all it was as if we were playing a kid game. It was like, ew, you do have money for the drugs. Like, it was such a silly exchange, such a sweet guy. And it's just so funny because ended up having this profound experience from this very silly man. Chad and I we meditate, we do all the things that I like to do before mushrooms.
Right.
You don't eat, you get a good night's sleep the night before. Yeah.
Right.
We just sort of prepared in a really beautiful way. We both set intentions.
Right.
And we started together, and then we ended up, it has its own
thing. Right. It's
like,
on
you
ride.
don't decide.
Right.
At first you do, and that's the uncomfortable part. And when you let it do its thing, then it's the good part.
Right.
And so then we ended up having these different epiphanies and like crying, and then also very naturally came back together after we'd had these epic trips.
Right.
And I had a few epiphanies. One was that there's a woman that I'd met on Hinge, but I'd never even met her in person. We just were messaging a bunch. And I was like, Tiffany, I'm supposed to be with Tiffany.
Okay.
And then the other was that I'm a caretaker and I'm supposed to do hospice work. And I think the caretaking came a bit from COVID because I'm such an extrovert. And so my whole life had been so go, go, go.
Right.
And then COVID made me have to take it down a notch.
Yeah.
And just be. And you need that in hospice care.
Right.
So, and then the third was that Chad and I really needed to break up.
Which is good.
Which is great.
Yeah, needed to happen. Well, you called it a death doula, which I had never heard that term before.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'd never heard that term. And so, but then I remember because I watched the, oh my gosh, the Dying for Sex with Michelle Williams. And there's a scene where Paula Pell is the death doula, is the nurse.
She's a hospice worker. Yeah.
Oh, she is. Yeah. So what's the difference between
death doula? Isn't part of the hospice. It's like a doula. It's the same thing with doula for birth.
Right.
It's not the doctor that gives birth. It's,
right.
It's the person that helps you give birth.
Right.
It's the more sort of spiritual.
Yeah. When
person.
She talks about how it's a process, the body knows what to do and all that stuff, I was just weeping.
Me too.
When I saw that scene, I was weeping.
Yeah.
Because it does make somebody who's about to die want to know I would want to know. Some people don't want to know. I want to know exactly what's going to be happening.
I want to get to that when I talk about Rob in a second because I have. Okay. So, and then Chad had the epiphany that God doesn't exist, which is really funny because on mushrooms, most people have the epiphany that God does exist.
Yeah.
But for a Christian, it's pretty funny to be like, oh, God doesn't exist. And then he also realized we have to break up. We break up. I immediately start doing death doula trainings and start working in hospice. I mean, I just go for
immediately.
Yeah.
Girl.
Volunteering. I'm still kept my other million jobs.
Right.
But yeah, right away. It was very clear that was correct.
Okay.
And which is really nice on mushrooms. Sometimes the epiphanies are 100% correct.
Yeah.
I did end up going on a date with Tiffany. She wasn't the one for me. So it's not as if everyone to a T.
Right.
But anyway, and then this is a few weeks later, I'm back on Hinge and I see a guy who's very cute and I heart him. Mm-hmm. And then when he hearted me back to make the pairing, he has suddenly all different pictures on the Hinge profile.
Right.
And it's him in the hospital, all of them.
Right.
And so he had stage 4 colon cancer.
Shit.
And I hadn't met him yet. We hadn't really talked yet.
Right.
But we're messaging. And at first I was like, no.
Right.
And then I said yes.
Yeah. So he's obviously clearly open about it in his profile, not just with photos, but is he saying words?
Oh, yeah. He was saying words. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. And once we were messaging, he explained. And he had put up a mock profile and then filled it in with the real stuff that night.
Right.
But it's not that I saw the profile of the death person and was like, oh, that's
the one I want. Yeah.
It was just totally normally like, oh, this guy went to art school. Very adorable.
Was he saying at that time his prognosis was
terminal?
Fuck.
Stage 4.
Okay.
The final stage. And then once I said, it was like a very clear no, but the no was so cerebral. And then the yes was my body and my heart.
Right.
And just, I really love moving from intuition, even though it does not make sense. That's what's interesting about it. And then we started talking on the phone for 3 hours a day. It was just pre-vaccine, or maybe I'd gotten one. He hadn't. I think he didn't know whether he could get it because he was so immunocompromised. Yeah. And then, but that was the delay. That's why we were talking on the phone so much. Mm-hmm. His mom was also a hospice nurse, so I talked on the phone with her. I was just getting involved in this.
What were those 3-hour conversations like? Was it all about death, or was he actually? Did it feel like dating?
It felt like dating for sure.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it wasn't that I was. Oh, I'm newly interested in death. Tell me about it. Although he was super open about death.
Right.
We talked a ton about comedy. We talked about art.
Yeah.
Yeah. We talked about our lives. We talked about silly
dating
stuff.
Yeah.
It was totally dating.
Okay.
But there was, he was open about his dying also.
Right. Okay.
And cancer. And then we met and just full on.
Full on.
Yes.
Okay.
Right away. It was
sex?
Completely in. Oh yeah. The first time we met, we said, I love you and had sex. Yeah.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. It felt like my first relationship in high school.
Yeah.
It felt like my 15-year-old first love. And
my
I
God.
didn't know that you could feel that again, honestly. I really
Right.
didn't. I thought it was like,
I didn't think you could either. Yeah.
I was 41, something like that at the time. 40,
Yeah.
I don't know. So, and yeah, in speaking about that hospice nurse, I had a very similar experience with our hospice nurse. It's almost, if you are open to it and you are asking, your hospice nurse will tell you everything. Because hospice, at that point, that's past the point of care. That's when they're no longer giving you
Right.
care. And he and I were both very open about death, both talking about it explicitly, making jokes about it. Yeah, talking about it in a spiritual way, but also sort of, okay, so these are the things that are going to happen. We had
Right.
little codes where the way I was going to touch him when he was unconscious, music I was going to play for him.
Yeah.
It was all these different levels, but also always the jokey part of it. But this hospice nurse, and it was so funny because she had so much makeup on and these like fake eyelashes out to here. Just she had all this like facade,
Right.
but she told it to us so
Straight.
of, this is when you're going to have trouble breathing. So you're going to need oxygen. This is when you're going to need a commode. This is when you're going to be in diapers. And she even said he went into hospice in February and maybe January. And she said, I think you'll probably die around mid-March. I mean, this is because we asked.
Right.
And he died on March 15th.
Yeah.
She just knew.
I mean, especially the ones who've been doing it for so long, because my grandma died in hospice at her house. I had another grandma that died in hospice at her house. I had a grandfather that died in hospice at his house. And like the ones, but it's so funny because none of my grandparents asked or really wanted to know.
Yeah, no.
And I'm like, I'll take them to the side because I want to know what's happening.
Right.
Yeah.
And there were, I will say, many people in Rob's life who did not want to know and were in such denial.
How old was he?
He died at 48. He just turned 48 2 days before. Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my gosh.
And like a very sensitive, handsome, creative, funny, special man.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Is it in his family? I mean, I don't want to.
It is, yeah.
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 Oh God.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So you guys date for how long? Because
we were together for 2 years.
Not to spoil it for everybody, but he ends up doing an episode.
Well, he's really the reason that I did it. Because I'd had the idea years before, and it still was in my mind to do it.
Right.
But doing a project when you already do a million projects and are busy making money and living is super hard. And I knew this would be hard, and I knew it would be emotionally intense.
Right.
And so, but then when he was diagnosed, that's when I really was like, okay, I have to get this equipment and start recording. And so we did 2 interviews a few months apart. And one was, we did it in December, and then he died in March. So just a few months before he died. And in the episode,
he also sounds great on it. That's why I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it made me laugh because I don't know if it's in your trailer or what I listened to, but the part where he goes, yeah, it's like, I know I'm dying and I got a lot of stuff to do, but I'm like wrapped up in this relationship now. And he's like, but I still got like a lot of stuff to do before I go. I was like,
totally. That was a complicated thing because it's new love.
But he's so light about it and like laughy about it.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What a great guest.
Yeah.
Dude. Okay. So 2 years. And then he passes.
And in those 2 years, we did so many life things.
Yeah. Like what?
We went to Mexico and Catalina and Joshua Tree. Like we just traveled.
Yeah.
And went dancing and sang.
Yeah.
And we had a lot of sex. Like it was just a lot of we had sex in the hospital a month before he died.
Yeah.
And he told his nurse, because we needed to like make sure no one walked in and stuff. So everyone was like aware that this was happening.
Oh yeah.
And
but what nurse would stop that?
No. The nurse was very happy to have the sign on the door.
Okay, yeah.
No, the nurse was just like, you are on so much morphine. How in the world? Like it was like physically impossible that he was able to do this. So everyone was really psyched, you know. The nurses really loved our love.
Yeah.
You know, and we would have a good time in the hospital.
Yeah.
But yeah, we ate a lot. We lived a lot.
In those 2 years. Oh my God.
I mean, and I didn't understand why I was doing it.
Yeah.
Even when
And how long ago was that it happened?
He died March of 2023. So 2.5 years ago he died.
Okay.
And I didn't know why I said yes, even, at the Hinge prompt.
Yeah.
And even just, my friends had to really, really be there for me. And I think there was some guilt of, I have chosen this thing. Because your friends are there for you because things happen. But this was this very strange, I'm choosing a terminal relationship.
Right. Do you realize why now?
Yeah. I mean, it just was correct. I needed to have that experience. I think it softened me. I think I feel very, very truly grateful to be alive. I think it's related to this project. I think it's related to creativity. I think I loved that I did something that didn't really make sense.
Did it ease your, what is your relationship with death now after that? Or what was it before and after, I should say?
I think it almost was that I didn't totally have one. I have friends who are really afraid of death and or are really afraid of people in their lives dying all the time. And I definitely don't want to say I'm comfortable with other people dying.
Right.
Or I
know. Yeah. You don't want to say that, but I get what you're saying.
And I don't want to say that I'm comfortable with my own death. It's not that I'm like, there's no holier than thou thing happening. Right. But I think that, and also I have done all this hospice volunteer work. Right. I think it's that I have a comfort with people who are dying. It's not that I have a comfort with death,
right,
and the end, but I am comfortable talking to people, even strangers, about their death, which makes people feel
better
because then they're not feeling as alone, because many, many people are super afraid to say anything. And I think I'm comfortable with grief. So when other people are experiencing grief, I think I'm good with the
people, elderly people. Like I used to love going to convalescent homes and just hanging out.
Wow.
I loved when I was a kid. I loved it.
Well, when you were a kid.
When I was a kid. Because my great grandma was in the hospital. So I would just go from room to room. Yeah, I loved it. But funerals, I can't do it.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like the finality of it.
Yeah.
Like I love helping them, but I'll get emotional talking about a funeral right now.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah.
What is that?
No, but funerals are really weird.
Yeah.
And they're not done that well.
No.
And they're not that emotional, and there's often a religious component, and there's this like stand up, sit down. Like I think there could be a very wild version of a funeral that felt like living, and you were allowed to scream or kick or I think there could be a way that felt more real. I think there's a sheen, and I think that is just brutal.
Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
There's like the coldness of it.
Yes.
It's wild.
There's got to be a better way.
Okay, so I have so many questions. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
How many interviews have you done? Do you know?
13.
13?
Yeah.
Okay. And then from those, what have you learned is like your part in a relationship?
Oh.
Is there like a theme? Is there a thread?
Well, I think I learned that I'm really sensitive.
Mm-hmm.
I think I grew up in a city and then live in a city, and I think there has been this like, I'm a tough girl. So I think I recognized more that I'm a vulnerable, sensitive person.
I love that.
And that was a really nice thing to admit and have showcased.
And that's the thing, by you doing this, because we don't do this. And like you said, we always see things in black and white when it comes into relationships. By doing this, there are things like when I talked to my ex-fiance, when we talked, and he was like, the theme I had was that when we would get into an argument, I'd be like, well, that's it. Then I guess we're done.
Oh, wow.
Because I'd want to do it before they could do it to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't, therapy and stuff. I don't do that. I'm married now. I don't do that with my husband at all. But no, that's not true. One time we had one argument and I was like, well, I guess you need to go find another family. And he was like, what? And I was like, sorry, that was an old pattern that I just regurgitated. But with talking about that, you get to see yourself in a way that your mom and dad don't see you, that nobody, like your friends don't see you. You get to hear it from a person who's been like intimate with you in a very different way of how they see you. And to me, that's fascinating when you get to find a little bit more about yourself that you may not have noticed, right? Isn't that wild?
And I think first season, just because I'm the one curating the order, I think I probably chose people that either it was equal or maybe I was a little bit more the underdog.
Right.
Because I'm comfortable with that. So I was comfortable asking people why they didn't like me.
Yeah,
Comfort is a bit of an exaggeration,
so people
but
that
like
would have maybe
curious.
have broken up with you.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. And I think the situations where maybe they liked me more or I broke up with them, I will have those people on, but it's more tender.
Yeah.
And there was somebody I have already interviewed who it was almost, we dated twice and it was almost flipped.
Right.
The first time I was less into it and the second time he was less into it. And
Yeah.
so that was one situation where he asked me why I became less into it. And I really was careful.
Yeah.
I said, do you want to know?
Right. Like I'm double checking before I
Yes.
say it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because it's my
that's
decision to do
crazy.
this. So I know that I'm comfortable with it. So there is that
Right.
sensitivity
Because you
around
are the
it.
podcaster.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, that's so fascinating. Okay. What have you learned about who you're attracted to?
Oh.
Like where your attraction
Okay.
lies?
I think I am very actress in who I'm attracted to because I'm attracted to such different types.
Right.
So I think it's even the range of it is almost funny. I have an
Right.
Orthodox rabbi. I have a stripper. I have a famous comedian. I just have all these different, first of all, a lot of larger than life characters, a
Mhm.
lot of charisma, a lot of big. And a lot of, what's this life like? What's this situation like? Even there was somebody who was in an open marriage. So there's, the way that I can talk about the podcast almost in these marketing terms of like, it's this one. I think that does speak to my interest in seeing what a different life could be.
Right.
And even going on dates, I find very fun because then I can say, oh, what is it like even being an attorney? Or what,
Right.
what is
Yeah.
it like being a nurse? What is it like? Any of those things I find interesting.
Yeah, that's how I am. I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to expand my brain. Like, tell me everything you
Yes.
can.
And I do think, rubbing up against somebody, you're getting a little sense of that.
What is the lesson you want people to learn from the podcast?
Oh.
Because some people do podcasts just for entertainment, but I'm like, I feel like there's so many lessons in this one.
I think there's meaning in who you're attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
So I think to trust yourself. And even if pain comes out of who you're attracted to, that then is leading to something else. So I think like a trust. I think you don't have to hate the people that it didn't work out with. In fact,
Absolutely.
I think there's such a beautiful feeling in, hearing nice things from people has been awesome on the podcast, but getting to say the ways in which people were important to me has felt so good. So just encouraging people to maybe get a little bit of that feeling.
Right.
Maybe not interview every single ex, but talking to people a little bit.
Yeah.
Can feel super, super good. I think people know that love is important, but I think that's a real feeling in it.
And the connection and how valid it is. And like, that's what I feel like, especially for men. I've had a therapist tell me one time, wasn't my therapist, but they are a therapist, said that men tend to grow the most after a breakup.
Whoa.
And it's hard for them to grow within the confinements of a relationship. So with my ex-fiance, when I asked him that, I was the breadwinner. He was kind of like just, I don't want to say lazy, but when we were bartending, if he could make rent for the next month on day 3 of the month, he would take off the next 27 days. There was no future minded.
Yeah.
And here I am working 60 hours, just trying to hustle and make money. And
yes.
I want more. I want to work more. I want to work. So we were very different. And now after our breakup, now he's married, the father of 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And he's the breadwinner.
Wow.
And he's the one and he goes, but that would have never happened. And that was like we were together, I think 5 years. That was the big headbutting in our relationship. And he was like, I would have never realized my potential or whatever until I went through that breakup with you.
Whoa.
And then now he's paired with somebody who's more of the him in the relationship.
Wow.
And it's wild because I was like, they say, people can't change. I think people can change all the time for sure.
Me too.
But like that, it requires something to happen.
Yes.
To get the impetus for it to happen.
Yes. Yeah. And it kind of, this isn't a fully formed thought, but I think being with someone dying was the closest thing to me experienced dying. And so I think that's why
Absolutely.
in actuality, I feel what it is to be alive.
Yes.
Yes. Without having it be, me the last 5 days of my life.
Oh, that's so beautiful, man.
Yeah. I mean, I feel lucky.
I've only gotten to listen to the first 3 minutes of that because I was doing all the research and I was like, I gotta get through
There's
a lot. There's a lot.
There's a lot.
The open merit. We're gonna get to that one in a second. So I want to. Are there any no's? Like any exes you're thinking of that
I would say
that
no?
you would be like, no, I don't want to have them on.
No, I want everybody on.
Good.
Even the ones who are super brutal.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
That's
me. If they will be on.
Yeah.
And I will be as gentle, and there can be parameters, anything. Yeah. Absolutely. And I will say I will be very, very gentle in getting from them what was going on.
Right.
And I am pretty understanding.
For sure.
Because I don't want to not like them. Right. And not that I want to be friends with these people.
I don't want to carry.
I don't.
Yeah, I don't want to start any relationship or anything. But I want there to be peace around that energy. Yeah.
For sure. And I also want to know, there was somebody that I dated who was a sex addict. And in our conversation, he was talking about how he has an intimacy disorder. And that was something new since we had dated. And it was so helpful.
Because it makes you realize all the things that were going on in your relationship.
Yeah. And also it made me realize that it was never going to make any sense, which is actually kind of a good feeling. It's not that, because we got along so well and there was so much chemistry and everything. But it made me not feel regret at all, because there was no way that I would be with somebody who has an intimacy disorder. It's just not what I'm looking for. I will tell you
that my favorite thing is, I almost said it wrong. I almost said my favorite thing is Diane Keaton died. That's not what I was
That's my favorite thing.
That's not the order I meant to say it in. Diane Keaton passed away, and I didn't know that her and Al Pacino were off and on for 8 or 9 years or something. It was a while. And he would never fully commit and get married. And so he now this man, she passed away a couple weeks ago, and this man who I think just had a kid with a 30-something-year-old.
Just had a kid.
Yeah. And they're broken up. They're not even together, but she's with him in this photo after Diane passed. And he's in his late 80s, can barely walk, and he's so sad. And when they were interviewing people around him, they were like, oh, it was the biggest loss of his life. He's always regretted that he didn't. But then I look at it from a different perspective, these women that keep staying in these relationships or keep fighting for an ex who doesn't want them back. And I'm like, hey, they don't change. Yeah. This is what it looks like. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, and it was just so sad to see that whole thing painted out in real time. And I was like, oh, it's so crazy. And he's like, she's still the love of my life. And I was like, what? That's wild. And I'm like, that's why you go back and ask your ex, hey. Yeah. Hey, what? Because maybe you could have that conversation. That was just crazy. What are your relationship goals moving forward? Are you single now? I
have a boyfriend.
You have a boyfriend.
I have a really great boyfriend.
Well, even with him, what are your relationship goals now?
Wow, I don't know.
I know.
No, I feel very committed. It feels so good to be with someone who's living. Yeah. So there's very, I think I have much more patience in this relationship than I have in the past. Right. I think there's so much gratitude. So it's, the goals. It's nice because I don't want anything different from the way it is. So I'm not really thinking,
That's
I hope
great.
that
That's great. Yeah. I guess if you would have asked me that, I think the same thing with my husband, where it's the gratitude is a very big difference. But yeah, I also think I definitely had a type before, which were the big personalities, the alphas. I loved alphas. And my husband's more of a beta with alpha tendencies.
My boyfriend's an introvert.
Yeah. And love it. And I noticed the difference on social media. In previous relationships, I was always taking the selfie. It was always my arm holding the phone. Oh my God. And I would post and I'd be like, look who I'm with now. We're at the football game. We're at this bar. We're at this. And with my husband, almost no desire to our wedding and our anniversary. And we've done skits and bits and stuff together when we first started dating. He's like, you do comedy, I'm pretty funny. And then you're like, this is funny because you're not a good actor. This is why it's hilarious. And so we do Dateline. I always said he was trying to kill me, a Dateline episode. And so we would do those. But other than that, I was like, oh, I don't have a desire to be like, this is who I want you to know he's a really good guy. And I want you to know that he's very special. And
Whoa.
he brought me these flowers today. Did you know that?
Wow.
Now I'm like, oh, he does everything I ever wanted.
Yeah.
And I don't have to like try to get his attention. I don't have that insecurity. And so that gratitude, I was like, and he shows the fuck up. And you're like, and I'm not even mad at the guys who didn't show up because I was looking for men who didn't show up to replace a whole different thing. And it was a wild journey to get to that.
Wow.
So I'm going to deep dive through all of your episodes because I'm like, so far the episodes I've listened to, I've learned something from each one of them or they relate to me in some way.
Oh.
I've never been in an open relationship or been the third. Is that what because you were with the married couple, but you were only with him.
I was only with him.
Right. So, but you said you've done a lot of open relationships before. What was that like? And would you still consider doing that forward or?
I'm not currently interested in that. I did it for a very long time. So I feel like I get it. I got it.
Right.
But it was really great, especially when I was in my 20s. It was really nice to have that freedom. 20s and 30s. I would have a primary partner. We wouldn't even necessarily be in love and we would not live together. And we would see each other maybe once or twice a week, but like a light dating situation.
Got it.
But kind.
Right.
But not super enmeshed.
Right.
And then it was decided that we could both do whatever we wanted, but it wasn't talked about.
Got it.
Yeah. So it wasn't the ethical non-monogamy, everything's explicit, everything's a long conversation.
Oh, right.
Which
we know everything the other person's doing.
Yeah, I'm not interested in that. And it wasn't a throuple.
Right.
But the way I did it with the first person I did it with, it was almost started as a joke. I just was talking about how I wanted Zach Galifianakis to be my hall pass. And it was like, whatever.
Who doesn't?
Totally.
Who doesn't?
And this is 2004. And he said, yeah, I mean, you can do whatever you want. And I said, yeah, it started out as such a light conversation.
Right.
And then we decided if you really, 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 really want to hook up with someone else, you can.
Yeah.
And that was really helpful because I would be at a party and I would ask the question. And often the answer was no. So I wouldn't do it. But every once in a while, I was like,
yes.
And it needed to be that really, really. So it wasn't about, I'm going to go out and seek this out. It was just if I felt really compelled.
Right.
Which I think at the time I needed more. I think now, I feel like I've done.
Yeah.
I've done.
You've done. What would you say is your most titillating episode?
Oh, maybe the stripper, because it's really about a hookup.
Right.
In a strip club.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Okay,
in a VIP room.
Yes.
So it's like yeah.
Yeah.
But also then it turns out she's this like incredible healer, beautiful, smart, funny. I mean, and that was another one where it was like, oh, wow, there's some intuition here. Because I was so drawn to her and she's obviously very beautiful and hot.
Right.
But we now have this like lovely friendship.
Yeah.
It's and I never would have talked to her again. So it's pretty unbelievable. I think there's little moments throughout. I think the open marriage, there's some sex talk. Yeah, I think all of them have a little bit of sex talk. So.
Right. Do you, I'm trying to think, going forward, is there an ex that you're really excited to have on?
There is a semi-cult leader guy.
Damn, girl.
Yeah. I mean, this is what this is the
range.
You're not kidding. I'm not repeating. It's like, okay, well, I got one cult leader down. Like, I'm good. One doctor, we're done.
I'm done. Yeah.
So I think that'll be really interesting. And we had a lot of threesomes. And also I did a lot of my first experimenting.
Yeah.
With mushrooms, with nudity, with sexuality, with even Kundalini, just all my hippie stuff was that. So I think that's going to be really good. And there was somebody who I dated in my early 20s who didn't want to be friends. So he's a real white whale because we've never talked. And it was a really important relationship to both of us. And he just didn't, I just had never had that before or since. Most people, either I'm friends with them or friendly, where there's just a nice feeling,
and
even if you don't talk.
Some people can't do it, man.
Yeah. And I'm not even asking for a friendship, but I would love to, I would love to tell him how much that relationship meant to me and how much he meant to me and how much I think he's an awesome person. I wasn't.
Did he already say he would do
patient
it?
enough. No, I haven't even asked him.
Oh, you haven't asked
Yeah,
him yet.
that's one that I'm like,
One
I don't want to know that it's a no, so I haven't asked yet, but I know how to get in touch with him. And also I just have hope that I'll feel out the right
because
moment.
like it's gonna be good for you, but it would probably be great for him.
I think so too. I think it's good
just the way you're gonna handle it, you know?
I think it's good for, all 13 people have been glad they did it.
Yeah.
It is a good feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there can be people who, there have been 2 interviews where people were a little icy up top, and then both of those people were the ones that cried.
See?
Because they sort of didn't want to deal with it, and then they
like,
did.
Okay, I'm dealing with it.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the life-changing event. These are kind of the life-changing events, and then the medicine is this podcast. What would you say the funniest lesson you've learned is?
I think I mentioned the drug dealer in detail just because there's something so beautiful about this very silly person being the one that led to this incredible, profound shift.
Right.
That opened me up to hospice and a person who was dying. So I think the sort of
the irony of it.
Yeah, and like the mundane. I think also not exactly funny, but that death the death can be so life affirming, you know? I also, the end of Rob's episode is truly all of our jokes about death.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that funny aspect of it. Even the little thing of Chad is a tech bro, and now he's really one of the most important people in my life. I just gave the toast at his wedding.
Yeah.
And he introduced me to my boyfriend.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so we took 7 months of not being friends, and then he ended up meeting Rob and being very close to Rob. And yeah, I mean.
Oh my gosh.
So it's like it's like funny and unusual and strange and surprising. And yeah, and even the stripper that I was drawn to this person, then she ends up being this like deep, amazing woman. So I think to keep following intuition because it doesn't make sense. Yeah. And that's funny.
It's so multifaceted. Like, it's like you think of a human that one way. This is a stripper. And then you're like, oh my gosh, she's just Kundalini yoga and she's, taps me into my chakras.
Definitely.
Like, what?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And connects me to my sexuality and my sensuality, my creativity. Yeah. And then the rabbi was saying kind of like the most crass things. It's just like no one is one
levity.
thing.
No one is one thing.
Yeah.
That's a big lesson. Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share? Like tell people where they can find you too, by the way, and listen to the podcast.
It is the Ex Appeal podcast. My name is Miriam Katz. It is on Spotify and Apple and all that stuff.
Yeah.
You can share my socials.
I will. I am so excited to see where this goes.
They're
already talking about you on The View, girl.
I know, it's insane.
13 episodes in. Jesus.
It feels so, I really feel better. And I want to do 100, who knows? But that is so surprising to me that I actually already feel so much closure. Because I had the idea, but you don't know what it's actually going to be like. So that has been surprising and beautiful. Like, it's been a very moving process.
Yeah. I mean, you seem I did not know you before this, so, but you seem like so chill and like grounded and centered and.
Yeah. Well, I will say.
Because some people think if you talk to 13 exes, you're going to be a little bit manic for a while. And
no,
you're like, no,
it actually, no, totally.
It's the opposite.
But your podcast really helped me last week because an article came out in the Post, and that was a great thing. And it was a beautiful article, weirdly spiritual, weirdly moving, incredible piece, very detailed. They interviewed 3 exes. I mean, they did a beautiful job on it.
Right.
This woman, Rita Wiggle. But it's in the New York Post, just a very conservative rag.
Yeah.
And those comments were so psychotic and anti-Semitic and sexist and calling me a horse. I mean, crazy.
Right.
And that happened, I accidentally saw it because somebody tagged me in the Post Facebook message. Because I hadn't seen it. I just see my friends being like, oh my God. And then I was listening to a few episodes of your podcast in a row. And then the Rochelle Jeffrey
girl. Trolls. Oof.
But I mean, talk about medicine. It was like at the exact moment that I was in this trauma response of seeing these messages, I got it. And the way that she talked about how they're actually seeing something in you
Yeah.
was totally medicine.
That is literally like a mirror that they don't want to
Yes.
touch. She was great. She was phenomenal, dude. She's phenomenal.
A cool episode.
And the troll show, I think she's still taking it around the East Coast. It's phenomenal.
I'm
like, you need to see it. She was writing it as a pilot, and I was like, yeah, it needs to be.
Oh, yeah, that's so helpful. Yeah. Yes. So that's to say, the podcast itself has been so healing, and then the putting it out into the world is complicated.
Yeah.
So yeah, you need the good feeling, you need the support, you need you need to know
great.
that you're
and
in
any
the right zone.
of that shit that you get, it's like, I mean, I got a little bit of that with the 7 guy stuff where it's like how many, but again, this was more like theater, so it wasn't really out there, and it's like, oh, I'm not shitting on any of them. Some of them I'm like, look, he had a mullet or whatever. Yeah. But like the rest of it it's me. I'm the common denominator in this. I'm not going to like put somebody out there. And it's like everybody's entitled to their stories. And if, they wanted you to write warmly about them, they should have behaved better. But at the same time, like they're just trolls and they're miserable people.
Yeah. But I think I also want, like, I have like a little bit of an empathy problem. Like, I want them to be doing
okay.
better.
I know.
I'm not gonna go out and try to make that happen at all, obviously. But it is. I think it was like, whoa, there's this like hate out there, and I think the podcast is really loving. So the hope is,
they're missing the whole thing, and they're not even listening.
No,
they're just listening to the
they're seeing the headline. I mean,
they're seeing a headline and a soundbite, and that's it.
Yeah,
and that's not what it's about. So you just keep putting the good energy out, and then it's going to keep coming back. And then it'll hopefully wash over them too. You know?
Yeah, I hope so too.
Thank you so much for doing this.
This is so great.
Good. I'm so glad you did it. Okay, awesome. All right, guys, you can follow me at Nicole Birch Comedy on all socials or NicoleComedy.com. And then you can check out my tour dates, and we'll see you guys next week.